Perhaps the boldest of 1975's rookie crop is Don Hardiman, number 30 of the Houston Oilers. For every 7 times I carry the ball, I'll score twice, boasted the rookie from Texas A&I. In his pro debut against the New England Patriots, Hardiman carried 18 times, and although he did not score, he blasted his way for 96 yards. Each time I carry the ball, he says, it's a memorable experience. Just playing with Hardiman must be a memorable experience. His Oiler teammates have nicknamed him Jaws in tribute to his verbosity. More subtle, but just as effective, was another Oiler rookie named Robert Brazile, number 52. Brazile played an active role in Houston's ball-hawking defense, which held the Patriot offense scoreless. But the Houston offense could not score either, and the game was won by defensive back Willie Germany, who picked up Mac Herron's fumble and tallied the game's only touchdown to give the Oilers a 7-0 victory. Another rookie standout on opening day was Oscar Rohn, number 81, a 6'6" tight end for the Cleveland Browns. Quarterback Mike Phipps found Rohn a handy target and passed to him 6 times for 70 yards. But Rohn was a hero in a losing cause as the Browns lost to the Cincinnati Bengals 24-17. A hero in a winning cause was little Rick Upchurch, number 80, a rookie wide receiver for the Denver Broncos. Upchurch teamed with veteran quarterback Charlie Johnson on a titanic 90-yard scoring pass against the Kansas City Chiefs. Upchurch gained 153 yards receiving and forced the Chiefs into overly cautious pass coverage. In the fourth quarter, Kansas City played deep and loose to defend against the long pass, and Charlie Johnson riddled their secondary with short completions. Johnson rang up 300 yards through the air, but it was these shorter passes in the fourth quarter that led the Broncos to a thrilling 37-33 come-from-behind victory. I've been playing in the NFL for 15 years and in more than 150 games, said Johnson, number 12. But this is one Sunday I'll never forget. It was also a Sunday that Steve Bartkowski, number 10 of the Atlanta Falcons, will never forget. In January, Bartkowski was the most publicized quarterback in college football and the number 1 draft choice of the NFL. When he arrived in Atlanta to sign his contract, the 3 TV channels interrupted their programming to announce that his jet had touched down. Last Sunday, in his first game as a pro, Bartkowski skillfully manipulated the Falcon running attack. But when the St. Louis Cardinals stopped the ground game, Bartkowski was forced to pass and was not as successful. The furious pass rush and sophisticated zones of pro football have long been the bane of talented young quarterbacks like Steve Bartkowski. Every veteran quarterback who has weathered the corrosive climate of the NFL will explain that learning to decipher the defense is the most difficult task to master.
For me, the toughest aspect of breaking in as a pro quarterback was getting to know the defensive strategies, getting to know what the defense was trying to do, even if it was at that time just a few coverages, man-to-man, maybe a zone one way and a zone another way. You still had to learn what they were trying to do to stop you and what your receivers would have to do in order to get open.
Rare indeed are the rookie quarterbacks who achieve stardom in their first season, and rarer still are those who excel in their first game. In fact, most veteran quarterbacks remember their first pro game as only a bittersweet memory.
I think it was about the third preseason game, and up until that time, through, say, 7 weeks of training camp, I was feeling pretty confident that I knew the man-to-man, the difference between man-to-man coverage and zone coverage and weak zone coverage. But we went up against the Packers down in Jacksonville, Florida, and I threw touchdown passes, my first two. But they were to the cornerback of the Packers, Jesse Whitman, and the second one was to Willie Wood, the safety man. They had been practicing and working on a new type of man-to-man coverage, and they caught a rookie right at his weakest moment when he thought he really knew what was going on. He had no idea.
Ironically, the ability to read and to anticipate defensive strategy gave 10-year veteran Jim Hart of the Cardinals the chance to defeat the Falcons. A safety blitz by Atlanta backfired when Hart anticipated the move and beat the blitz with a timely toss to Earl Thomas. Thomas' score added momentum to a Cardinal comeback that ended in a last-second victory when another veteran, 35-year-old Jim Bakken, kicked a 25-yard field goal that spelled defeat for Bartkowski's Falcons 23-20. Bud Grant, the coach of the Minnesota Vikings, is another man who understands the value of experience. The captain of his team is Jim Marshall, number 70, a 37-year-old defensive end who is proof that an athlete can be both old and bold at the same time. Marshall has played in more consecutive games than any defensive player in the history of the NFL, and he is still one of the most relentless pass rushers in the league. Marshall's close friend and teammate for 12 years is 33-year-old Carl Eller, number 81. Like Marshall, Eller's skills seem undiminished by time, and he still merits double-team blocking in passing situations. Like most Viking veterans, Eller plays with the zest and gusto of a rookie, and his determined pursuit and hustle make him one of the game's most unique defenders. Eller and Marshall are a prominent part of the most opportunistic defense in the NFC. Making a mistake against the Vikings is like bleeding in front of a shark. The veteran Minnesota defense racked up one touchdown against the San Francisco 49ers, then turned the scoring chores over to another seemingly ageless teammate, Fran Tarkenton, number 10. 15 years ago, when Tarkenton began his pro career with these same Vikings, the experts of the NFL belittled his scrambling, undisciplined, almost haphazard style. Today, the critics are silent. By the time Tarkenton retires, he will probably hold almost every passing record in the book, eclipsing even those of John Unitas. As usual on Sunday, Tarkenton exhibited his remarkable ability to always find the hot receiver, as Minnesota calls the open man, or the cheap receiver, as San Francisco calls him. But there was nothing cheap about this beautifully executed play-action pass that Tarkenton fired to Brent McClanahan to wrap up a satisfying 27-17 win for Minnesota's proud old pros.